Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Irina and we have our wonderful Jowyn Go, and person who just delivered a great workshop at TMCS, creating your vision board. Dear Jowyn, I'm very glad. Actually, I'm very honored to have been on your workshop. It was full of energy, full of engagement, and a lot of participants enjoyed being there. So can you shortly introduce it for people who were not there yourself and tell us how you got inspired about the workshop?
Thank you, Irina, for the compliment. I'm Jowyn, and I'm a healthcare corporate warrior in the day, where I've held an international career of nearly 20 years in different multinational companies over different geographies and also different functions. And at night, I am an executive coach and self-leadership speaker, and I'm impacting more than 100 mid to senior level professionals on a global level. Actually, how I came into a portfolio career was because I was made redundant in 2021. This corporate illusion actually motivated me to upskill myself and convert it into something that motivates me to support other executives.
Lovely. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. I would like to ask you what inspired you to get started with vision boards. And as a matter of fact, Jowyn presented a number of vision boards that she did throughout the year, 2010, 15, 25. So share some stories with us and why it became so meaningful for you to even run a workshop of the vision board.
Yeah, so I first started my vision board in 2010. This was fresh coming out of a depressive state when I just returned from UK on a work stint. I was suffering from reverse culture shock. And when I created my first vision board, it gave me motivation and inspiration to then be positive and take charge of my life again. And since then, I've actually refreshed my vision board once every 5 years and incorporated items that I want to achieve when I turn 30, when I change a career, or now even in 2025, I'm entering a new phase of life. I find that the experiences, interestingly, the images that I've put on my vision board have, let's say, 50% come true. I've achieved taking dares on myself, for example, taking the bungee jump. I've achieved becoming a speaker when I previously only admired women speaking on stage confidently. And I have, managed to find my loved one as well. When I was single for 5 years, I visualized on my vision board that I would find a partner, and I found one. So the effect has been quite amazing, and that's why I believe in it. And I wanted to really share this vision board creation with other people who have not experienced it. And that's how the idea of a vision board creation workshop came about.
Yeah. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, if I look back when you say I was not a speaker and I wanted to become one, you became so successful right now. I feel that you mastered a lot of aspects of public speaking. So definitely vision board in your case, and you said in some of the examples it worked in 50-60% of cases. So what does, from an experiential perspective, what makes some of these elements work faster rather than some that don't work? In your experience, why some manifest and some manifest less?
That's a good question. I think firstly, how some of them come true, it's when I put my vision board right in front of my desk and I get to see it every day. So as I shared in the workshop that there is a science behind it. What you visualize becomes reality because the brain processes these images as stimulus to trigger certain emotions, behaviors, and actions that we take towards achieving the reality of these images. So that is why some of them came true. For those that didn't come true, I guess maybe I didn't manifest the discipline or the commitment to make it happen, or perhaps they are just not priority enough for me. Yeah, but as it is, not if 100% of your vision board comes true, then you're amazing. So even when I read up on how successful entrepreneurs, achieve their targets, form businesses, they themselves also said about 50 to 70% of the images on their vision board come true.
So that brings me to a question that people often ask: should I create a vision board just for this year? For example, we are in 2025, to manifest 2025, or shall I put it for life visioning? Like, this is how I would love my broad life to look. What is your take on that? And what is your tip?
So I actually did 2 vision boards consecutively, 2019 and 2020. And I realized some aspects didn't change, right? So there can be short-term goals and also long-term goals on your vision board. So those long-term goals, for example, let's say buying your dream car, your dream house, those will take years to achieve. Whereas others, for example, like forming a new habit of reading, forming a new habit of investing, that could actually be achieved within 1 year. So I guess my tip is, if you want to do it only for 1 year, then be very specific about what you want to achieve for the year. But if you are really wanting to make a vision board that you want to see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years time, then that's a vision board that you can keep for a longer time.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. And speaking of that, what do you feel are the key elements for the vision board? So if somebody right now listening to us decides, oh, I want to do a vision board, what would be your key tips to make, very successful or the effective vision board, so to say? And what are some mistakes to avoid at the same time?
All right. So as I shared in the workshop, some tips that I learned along my own journey is make the images as specific as possible, as close to your goal as possible. For example, I cited one example where I put an image of someone doing bungee jumping into the river. And when I did my bungee jump in New Zealand, I envisaged the same image and I wanted to make sure that I jump into a river. So that is one tip. And then some other tips is date your vision board, because I didn't date mine and I actually couldn't remember in what year it was. Adding some descriptions in addition to the images, so that you can also remind yourself what those images stand for, what you're trying to achieve. Other tips?
Yeah, what would be the mistakes? Because there was one person who was doing the vision board suddenly said, I'm going to put this picture because I don't want this to happen. I want to make sure it does. I don't want this to happen. Do you think that would be the right practice?
So in NLP, we learned that the brain does not process negatives. So if you put an image that you don't want to happen, or you put a word don't happen, don't do it, the brain only processes the action word, which means that the negative could still happen because you're just focusing on the action. So that is something that I would encourage not to include for your vision board.
Not to include. Yeah. That's very important. You don't want to exclude what you don't want.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and there was a good point that you mentioned. So when we look at the vision board, sometimes we put, I want to have this great car and great house and relationship. But what goes into that? Habits, right? Do we put those habits also in the vision boards? What is your recommendation on that?
This is taking a learning from another member that she actually put to say, like, I will be disciplined to achieve this dream. Or another member actually put a quote to say that success is not achieved without discipline. So I would recommend that you actually put those keywords onto the vision board as well, so that again, it triggers you to incorporate that habit, that nature into your life.
That's lovely. So as Toastmasters are one of our main guests this evening, what is one thing you would recommend a fellow starter speaker who wants to manifest to be a great speaker and deliver speeches? What is one thing you would recommend for them to put on their vision board? So, judging from my own experience, I started putting, the image of a successful speaker since 5 years ago. So that would be one image that I would encourage people to put there. And then I've also seen images of a new Toastmaster actually putting in milestone. For example, completing level 1 of Toastmaster, an image of that and himself.
on the image as well. So having that long-term goal of being a professional speaker, one image, and then having that shorter-term goal of what do you want to achieve for that year itself to work towards that bigger goal.
And the final question for our lovely Jowyn, looking at all the vision boards that you presented today, what is the one and most important thing that strikes you as like, wow, I'm so grateful I manifested that? What that one thing would be?
I think if I see the common theme across my vision boards, there's always this element of social impact. So whether is it serving the underserved in developing countries, or even in Singapore itself, where they are underprivileged. I see that consistently throughout my vision boards, even from 2010. So I think that is my definitely long-term vision about how I can create larger social impact for the communities. Is it being on a charity board, or is it founding a non-profit organization? That is definitely my longer dream of achieving something that's impactful for the society.
Thank you so much, Jowyn, for being the wonderful presenter of this evening at TMCS. And I hope that many more people will experience workshops with you and meaningful transformations. And thank you for our listeners.
Thank you, Irina. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.